Okay, perfect. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to our August 22nd session for SAT prep, where we'll be going over writing and language. As you guys know, my name is Danielle. I'm one of the University of Chicago interns here in Mexico City, currently at the Education USA Mexico City Center. Really happy to meet you guys and be here again. In addition, I'm here joined by George.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is George, and I'm the other University of Chicago intern at the Education USA Mexico City Center, working remotely from my home in Virginia. And it's so nice to get to be here with you all today.
Thanks, George. So I noticed we have some new people here today. So we are going to touch on some of the things that we talked about in our last writing and language session, in addition to some new passages for you guys to try out these skills. So I think writing and language is mostly going to be focusing on grammar and the English language. So if you've already been to our writing and language session, some of the information here might be pretty new for you or similar, but if this is your first time, this will be basically, you're not missing out on anything because we'll be going over this information with you as well, along with some new information for our participants. So, okay, just a rundown on what the SAT writing and language section is. So, as you guys probably know already from the previous sessions, the SAT is a college admissions indicator for admissions offices to see, depending on how well you score, where would you be admitted, as well as, helps to get you a competitive edge in the college application process. In terms of the writing and language section itself, okay. In terms of the SAT writing and language test itself, you're basically asked to be an editor, and you're expected to help improve the passages that were specifically written for the test, and it often includes deliberate errors. In total, we have 44 passage-based questions with multiple choice responses. You also have one narrative paragraph, and the rest may be argumentative or a variety of the narrative sort. The questions fall into two main types: those where you're asked to improve the expression of ideas, those where you recognize the correct errors in the sentence structure, or, grammar, usage, and punctuation. So you have 35 seconds or minutes for this section. It'd be funny if you had 35 seconds, like anyone would get anything done. That's okay. You have 35 minutes to complete this entire section with the total 44 questions, which seems like you're getting gypped off, but it's actually probably one of the more easy sections for people, so long as you understand English conventions. So yeah. So some things you guys should expect: the writing and language passages range in length from about 400 to 450 words. The complexity will vary between passages, so you might have a more narrative intense passage that might be more difficult for you as opposed to the argumentative ones. That's okay. The passage you read will be informative and explanatory. It can also be nonfiction, it can be arguments, and it covers a variety of topics. For example, we have history / social studies, the humanities, science, and some of these passages are accompanied by like one or two mostly. I highly doubt you get 3, but there are sometimes some graphics or graphs you'll be asked to look at alongside the passages. It might be beneficial to strategize enough time between passages evenly to ensure you can answer every question on the exam. Before I actually continue, just be mindful to you guys that all of the information that we have here is identical to Khan Academy. So just to reiterate for people that don't know what Khan Academy is a free resource for you to study the SAT and prepare for it. It covers all of the sections: math, reading, writing / language, and all the information from this slide is taken from Khan Academy. The grammar rules you see here, all of the passages, they are utilized by Khan Academy, which I have at the very top here. I couldn't recommend it enough. I know both George and I have used Khan Academy as well as the College Board practice exams. I also included the Princeton Review, Kaplan, and Prep Scholar. There are some free resources on those, but the main free ones are the top two you guys will see here, Khan Academy and College Board. Most of our slides here are based on Khan Academy information. And some aspects of the Khan Academy resources are used from the College Board, so it's like kind of working together. But just so you guys know, highly recommend Khan Academy. George, do you have any other like resources for studying?
No, I feel like for me, like those are the two main ones to use, and they were like by far the most helpful that I've looked at. So I highly recommend Khan Academy and College Board for the practice exams. So
Yeah. Okay. So you guys will be using Khan Academy similar today. But for now, just so you guys know what to expect. These are actually pretty new. I did not rely on Khan Academy for this. So just so you guys can refresh on the different aspects of the questions you guys can expect, you're going to be asked for one of these 4 different subject areas, okay? You will be asked on the ways that evidence is used in respect to the claim or as a supporting detail, right? You might be looking at a question that's going to be asking for some sort of way to improve the passage so that your evidence can support the claim better or be a relevant supporting detail. Words in context, you're going to be asked to improve the word choice to make it sound better in the passage, or even be used to improve like the tone or the style. Expression of ideas, it's about the passage's topic, development, organization, and language use. You could be asked to use words or structural changes to improve how a point is made, especially when it comes to transitions, to make sure those ideas are expressed fully, as well as standard English conventions. So you might have sentence structure, the usage of that sentence, punctuation. These are mostly like your typical questions about like, should there be a semicolon here? Should there not? That's basically the most important part to where you will need to know at least some understanding of English rules. So unless this is your first time, right? Some of you are probably seen this before. We went over the entire sentence basics, and we did leave off after we went over some of the most confused words, and we also left off at the part where we started about punctuation. I'm going to briefly go over these sections again, as we have a lot of new people, so I want to make sure that people have the opportunity to at least grasp these concepts before we can move on to the next part. And also, if you guys have any questions, you guys can always ask in the chat. You can raise your hand. If you want us to slow down, absolutely. However, let's say if you've already been to the writing and language section, please feel free to basically tune out this section until we reach the part where we discontinued previously. So, sentence basics. What are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about ways to improve your sentences to make them as concise, organized, and perfect as possible. We have chat. This is my first time here. Welcome. So yeah, I noticed we have a lot of new people today, which is pretty good. Our usuals aren't usually here, which makes me kind of sad, but that's okay. So we're going to be going over these more in detail for you guys. So what do we mean by wordiness? So, I mean, I put it as a bullet point here. Too many words are like empty calories. So you want to say your point in the most concise way possible without adding extra words. For example, it would be safer to destroy the chemicals rather than to store them. Okay, that's a lot to say. The better example, it says it would be safer to destroy the chemicals than to store them. I would also argue that I sometimes omit the second two. It's not proper because technically you want to follow the same verb like structure to destroy as to like to store in the next phrase. But I typically just omit that when I'm talking to people, and that's perfectly fine too. But on the exam, you notice how you don't have to say rather or when or in this instance, right? You just have to tell directly. There's also the section to omit unnecessary prepositions. You might get flagged on your Word documents a lot for this. I keep getting flagged for it. For example, it says all of the details. You can just say all the details, which it sounds weird to me, if I'm being honest, because you're so used to saying the preposition there. But you don't have to say the preposition. In fact, it's more proper to not to. Parallelism. Basically, it was kind of what I mentioned before about you want to make sure that the verb form that it's in is the same as the one that it follows in the next part of the sentence, or any verbs in the sentence should match each other's form. So for example, swimming is better exercise than to ski. If you said that, I would understand you, but it's not proper. The right way, swimming is better exercise than skiing. Notice how both are using the ing, they're put in the same form. So basically parallelism just helps the flow as well as like the similarity of the form of the verbs can honestly help the reader understand the content or function. George, what were you going to say?
Basically, it's also the same thing you were demonstrating in the previous slide with like the example of like rather than to or whatever.
Right, yeah, I mentioned that. So just showing you guys again, right? I mentioned that you want the verb to stay the same in all parts of the sentence. Another proof of why the word example does not work, right? I don't want to say then storing them as an example. You're supposed to say to destroy, then to store. But typically I'm a little stupid, okay? I say then store them, which is not proper. Okay. So here's modifier emplacement. Honestly, I'm not the best at this one, but I think we have some good examples here to help you guys. So what is a misplaced modifier? It's a modifier that gives a misleading meaning by being incorrectly placed in a sentence. Okay, you guys might see what I mean. Let's read the wrong one first. He told her that he wanted to marry her frequently. So you notice how the modifier, right, it's placed to imply that the thing that's happening frequently is him wanting to marry her, when it should be he frequently told her that he wanted to marry her. The modifier is misplaced in this context to say a completely different meaning, when more likely than not, it's referring to the part where he's telling her, not that he wanted to marry her frequently. There's also the dangling modifier. It gives the false impression that it modifies a word or group of words, but what it modifies has been left out of the sentence. Okay. Basically, you might be referring to a part that isn't actually mentioned in the sentence. So let's say this. After writing the introduction, the rest of the report was easy. Honestly, if you said that, a lot of people would still understand you. Well, let's read the other one. After I wrote the introduction, the rest of the report was easy. So the difference is there's a cause and effect obviously implied in the right example, where it's an accurate telling of the timeline between you wrote the introduction and then after all of that, you were finished. But after writing the introduction, okay, first of all, that's incorrect, like usage of the verb. But not only that, the dangling modifier has basically been like what it's modifying has been left out, so it doesn't necessarily like work. I don't know. George, you were better at explaining the dangling modifier last time. Can you explain it better?
Okay, so like in this specific instance, the thing I'm noticing here is that the first part of the sentence in the wrong example, after writing the introduction, it leaves out the, I guess it leaves out the person who's actually doing the writing, which in this case is supposed to be like I, which is what's shown in the second like correct example after I wrote the introduction. But But yeah, then the first one, like that gets omitted, so it's not clear who it's easy for or something like that.
Yes, George. Okay. So we have logical comparison. So what do we mean by this? Okay, you want to make sure that the things being compared in your sentence are like the correct number or types of things so that it makes sense. For example, your locker is always neater than me. You're not comparing the locker's neatness to just you. The correct answer is your locker is always neater than mine. It's comparing someone else's locker to your locker. You're not comparing the locker to how neat you are as a person, right? Which is why the second option is correct. Next one. Your sister is better than everybody at solving differential equations. I wish I was. My sister is better than everybody else at solving differential equations. So you can see how, in this example, the comparison is simply just given to the amount of people that are doing the differential equations, rather than the first example being just everyone, everybody. Meanwhile, the correct answer is just simply limiting it to my sister is better than everybody else at solving differential equations. Also, it flows better. So you guys don't have to memorize these, but it does help. And we do have some, like, I don't know what to call them. It's not acronyms, is it? I think it's acronyms. We have acronyms to help you guys memorize the different conjunctions. Are you going to use them? No. But I think it's helpful to know at least the difference between them. So what is fanboys? For, always, but, or, yet, so. These are used to connect independent clauses in compound sentences. You also have subordinating conjunctions. We have all, wobis, as, although, after, while, when, unless, because, before, if, since. This is used to connect a dependent clause to an independent clause in complex sentences. So I'm going to use an example for both of these. Let's see, on the spot for the coordinating conjunction. I really like tacos, but they're always too spicy. Those are two independent clauses. It's a compound sentence. The but is in between. That's an example of the coordinating conjunction. Subordinating conjunctions usually typically happen like before the sentence to make that like a dependent clause, or sometimes they do happen to pop up in the middle, though the easiest way I think to use supporting conjunctions is like, for an example, although it was rainy outside, I didn't pack an umbrella. Did I even use that correctly? George, is that correct?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, okay. There we go.
although it was raining, I didn't pack an umbrella. So like Danielle mentioned earlier, that part for second part of the sentence there, like I didn't pack an umbrella, is like a standalone thought. It's a standalone sentence, and therefore it's an independent clause in a full sentence. However, the first part of the sentence, which is led by a subordinating conjunction, namely although, the first part of the sentence is although it was raining, is not a complete sentence, and therefore it's a dependent clause because it needs to go with an independent clause in order to form a complete thought, because you can't just say like although it was raining as a full sentence and just leave it at that. Only the second part of that sentence could be used as like a proper sentence, like I forgot to pack an umbrella. So yeah.
And then we kind of went over this already. We have like a variety of charts for you guys to go over in terms of how to memorize the verb tenses. I'm not going to go too much in depth in these until you guys have a question, but I think I'll go in depth enough for our new people. But if you've already been here, you've already seen these, so we're not going to take 10 years on it. So the past form, okay, this is past regular, not perfect, not anything else. He was, they were, she tasted, we wash. This is coming from the present form of the verb he is, they are, she tastes, we wash. And then the future, he will, they will be, she will taste, we will wash. So if you remember the present form of these verbs, is, are, taste, wash, then you'll be able to use that to conjugate to the past and the future. The future, they kind of just add will. That's pretty easy for you guys, with the exception of will and be for is and are. So are, you're going to be using it for like plural situations. Is for a singular, right? So just keep that in mind. In terms of the past perfect, present perfect, and future perfect, okay, you guys have probably noticed that they're kind of different, but some of the elements stay the same. So let's do the present perfect first. I have been, they have been, she has tasted, we have washed. So it's implying you've been doing something and are actively doing it. Meanwhile, the present, you're just doing it. And there's no like continuation, more so with the present perfect. So I have been. So have been, you did it sometime back here and you've continued doing it. Past perfect, it's implying that same thing where you had started something initially, right? And it's that continuation. Past perfect is that, but in the past, and it's stopped. I had been. So it was a continuous thing at some point, and then you stopped. They had been, she had tasted, we have washed. Future perfect, I will have been, they will have been, she will have tasted, we have washed. Oh my gosh, these are so confusing just to say them out loud. You guys don't have to memorize these, right? Because I doubt they actually asked about like the perfect tenses, but most of these you just have to add have or had. Hold on. Okay, George, could you do this section for me? I gotta go run to I gotta take a restroom break for a moment.
Yeah,
I'm so
okay.
sorry.
Yeah, so basically these verbs here are just irregular verbs that still have the same functionality the same way that the other ones do. So like for example, like the first column shows just the present tense, the second one shows the past tense, because these verbs change form rather than like be conjugated in some regular way, like adding ed to a word booked or something like that. And the past participle here, this past participle is what you use with the perfect tenses, the ones that were shown before with like have been, had been, will have been. Those constructions is where you would use these past participles. So to start, we have the first verb, which is just become. It's like I become, you become, he becomes. It conjugates normally, and we become, they become, and so on. But then in the past tense, it changes into became. Like it doesn't become becomed or something. It's became. And in the past participle, to say like I have, and the verb it's just become again. So it's I have become something, as an example. And you see more of those like vowel changes in these other verbs, like begin. Like I begin, you begin, he begins. It's regular that way. But when the past tense, rather than getting like an ending like ed, so like begin or something, it changes the vowel, so it becomes began. I began, you began, he began, and so on. And in the past participle, it changes once again. So it's like I have begun, I had begun, you will have begun, and so on. Yeah. And the same principles applies for the other vowels here. Like do becomes did in the past tense, and then becomes done in the like as a past participle. It's like saying I have done, and we see that with the rest here. Get in the present tense, got in the past, and gotten in the past participle forms. Like I have gotten something. Go is one of the most irregular ones here, because in the past tense it completely changes to a different verb, which for the past tense, which is went. And in the past participle, it's more regular, and it changes to gone, like I have gone. And have, had, and had, this is the same, this is the same verb that was being shown previously as one of the examples, like especially as part of the perfect tenses. I have, I had, I have had something, and so on. And then no, and the last one that's shown here in this table is know in the present tense, knew in the past tense, and known as a participle. I have known this, for example. And yeah, Danielle can go ahead and continue.
Thank you, Jared. I'm sorry for like the urgent leave, guys. Horrible restroom break, but that's okay because our next thing is basically the same thing except with irregular verbs. So some of these are kind of funny. We kind of memed about them last time. Basically, lay and lie, people confuse like all the time. Okay, lay, as in you're laying at this place. Okay, I'm laying on, I don't know, what would I lay on? A piece of grass. Okay, I laid on the piece of grass. I
No,
have laid on the
I think
piece of grass.
I think you're mixing it up actually. I think the
Did
first
I?
example, the first example here is supposed to be used for like placing something down.
Oh, that's what it means by place. Okay, I'm brain dead. See, guys, English is hard. I should not be teaching writing and language for SAT prep. I'm kidding. Okay, then let's
It's
do lie first. Okay, lie.
lies,
I
lies when you're,
lie on the piece of grass. Okay, I lay on the piece of grass. I was laying. Okay, no. I had lain, or I have lain on the piece of grass. See, that sounds stupid because everyone says laid, okay? I laid on the grass, okay? This is why this is so confusing because even if we were being proper, it doesn't sound right. Okay, so lay. I lay this U Chicago dining canteen on my table. I laid it, okay? I have laid it.
yeah.
Like,
Chances are
okay.
you probably won't have to worry about this like specific difference on the SAT, but it's nonetheless a good one to know, and it's a bit of a flex. You can like show to others that you know this much about English, more than most of the English speaking population that regularly messes up these verbs on a daily basis.
Gee, thanks, George. No, I'm kidding.
No, don't worry, I'm the same, so
No,
it's
I
all
know,
good.
I know. No, it's okay. Yeah, here are the other ones. So I ride, I rode, I have ridden a car. Okay. Uh, I was gonna say one that's not appropriate. Okay. I get milk. I got milk. I have gotten milk. I see. I saw. Just kidding. You know, it's funny. Okay, I don't know what you guys call it in Spanish, but like, you guys have like those like little. Okay, in English they're seesaws. I don't even know why they're called seesaws, right? But I just realized we have see and then we have saw. Who called it seesaw? I don't know what they're called in
It's me.
Spanish. Yeah, I don't know. A seesaw scene. The scene is like the third wheel of the seesaw. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. It's like the ones where like you have like the guy, like, okay, you have the thing and you have someone sitting here and you have someone sitting here and like one's like that. And you guys
They
go back and
alternate, yeah.
forth. I don't know what they're called in Spanish. Oh my gosh. El seesaw. No, okay. El scene. Okay, next. I swim. I swam. I have swum. Okay, no one says swum. I'm gonna be real with y'all, but you guys can flex. Cause like people say like I swam across the Atlantic. Okay, like people say that. We don't say swum, but like swum is actually correct. So I don't know. I don't know. English is kind of stupid. Anyways, lastly, I know English. I knew English. I have known English. I actually don't because I don't use swum. Kidding. But yeah, you guys can always like look back at these slides and also the recordings of these once we explain them because what happens is all the recordings are put on our YouTube. So you guys will actually see the in-depth analysis that George and I go through all of these once again. And yeah. Okay, guys. So you guys get to participate again. I don't well, I have the answers with me, but let's see if I remember the answers too. Okay. So The verbs are on the side in the parentheses. We have drive for the first one. Your job is to conjugate the verb. That means change the verb in the little parentheses to match the sentence context. Okay. And make it sound logical. Okay, guys. So you guys are going to put them in the chat for the first one. I have blank the car back to its parking spot. How do you guys think you guys are supposed to say drive in this context? Any guessers? George, what do you think it is?
I believe it's supposed to be driven.
Yeah, okay. Good job, George, student George. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Next one, guys. Come on. Type it in the chat. How you guys think you're supposed to conjugate these verbs? Okay. I didn't agree with how she easily blank her brother. Okay, that sounds so wrong without the verb. Okay, whatever. What do you guys think it is? The verb is forgive. Y'all there? I miss Tybe. Forgave. Yeah, there we go. We got somebody. All right. Yes, correct. It is forgave. I didn't agree with how she easily forgave her brother. Good job. Okay, next. I had blank of school last night. It felt like a nightmare. With the verb being dream. This one's a little difficult, but it's a little difficult if you don't know like the conjugation for dream, but I think you guys have. So you got this. Yes. Oh my gosh, you guys are so big brain. Okay. Yep. It's dreamt. I had dreamt of school last night. It felt like a nightmare. Honestly, that's me every time I go back to Chicago, except I only like Chicago for my friends and not actually like some of the school stuff. Anyways, he blanked my sincerity for pity yesterday. And the verb is mistake, so to mistake. What do you guys think? Period. Okay, wait. It's mistook, right? Yeah, okay. All right. He mistook my sincerity for pity yesterday. Good job. Okay, last one. This one's a little difficult. It's a little tricky. All right. Trick question. What did you blank last night? And the verb is right. Good luck, guys. Not quite, guys. See, okay, Type got this last time, but you guys, it is not wrote. It just stays as right. And you guys are probably yelling at me like, Danny, it says last night. It's past tense. Duh, you're stupid, Danny. No, I'm not. Okay, you guys aren't stupid either, because this was a trick. Because last night, you think it's supposed to be the past tense of the verb. What did you write last night? This question is being asked in the now, as in they're asking you like you.
No,
right?
Actually, here's the thing. So the thing in English is that when you ask questions, usually you have to use the verb do, like as an auxiliary, like it's supposed to be like a fill-in, like it goes in like, so like you could say like, you could say like, what do you write? But in this case, it's in the past tense, so do becomes did. So what did you write? That's why write just stays as it is. It would stay the same no matter what tense do was in it. You could say, what have you written last night? You could say it would be what have you written, or like, what will you write, and so on. But the point is, did is
I was getting to
did,
that.
yeah, did is the main verb that like changes here. So yeah.
Do you guys have any questions on any of the practice ones? I mean, you guys got them all right for the most part. If not, move on to the next section. So we're almost at the part that we left off at the last section, but we're going to review this part as well for you guys. Okay, so singular plural agreement. So this is just implying that the noun verb agreements in these sentences should basically follow the same kind of like if it's singular or if it's plural. For example, the union of carpenters advocate for better pay. Okay, if you said that, I'll understand you. More technically, though, you want the noun and the verb to both match in singular or in plural form, which is why this section is called the singular plural agreement. The union of carpenters advocates for better pay. They both match, basically. If you need a book or if you need to find a book, one should seek assistance from a librarian. Instead, you should probably just say, if you need to find a book, you should seek assistance from a librarian, as in it's referring to you in the first part and still referring to you. I don't know, I feel like people don't usually say one unless in like a essay where you're not supposed to use you in your essay. But like other than that, I mean, the second one just makes more sense. And then the last one. The pilot who has flown many planes are captaining our flight. See, that just sounds wrong, okay? Because it's not an agreement between planes and captaining. It's the pilot who has flown many planes is captaining our flight. The pilot is the one doing the verb here, not the planes captaining themselves. Okay, guys. Oh my gosh, diction. I love this part. I love the confused terms because at some point you've met many people that still don't know how to use these, and English is their first language. So it's okay, guys, because at some point I also failed at these as well. And you probably do sometimes, but that's okay. So, confused terms. This is just for like you in personal context, so you guys know which ones to use on the section, and you guys aren't like, if you guys are doing an essay, you guys don't mess up. Okay. Affect, as in with the A, is usually a verb. Effect or effect is typically a noun. Here's a practice sentence so you understand. The biggest effect of the policy was how it affected immigration. The biggest effect, that's a noun, right? It's talking about a change. The policy was how it affected immigration. So that's like to affect something, the verb right there. There's also choose and chose. Choose is the present tense, chose is the past tense. After I chose poorly last time I went to the restaurant, I will be more careful with what I choose today. It's basically just showing the contrasting tenses in the sentence here. You also have, have. There's have versus of. Have implies the verb, an action word. Of is the preposition, the connecting word. I would have, not I would have. It's versus its. it's without the apostrophe is the possession. Well, yeah, and then it's with the apostrophe is just basically the shortened of it is. So it is, when you see the apostrophe, read it as it is. When you're thinking of it, you don't like have to actually say it is, but it's important that when you purchase a phone, you're certain to check its warranty. The possession in the sentence referring to the phone and its warranty. That's the possession. It is important is it is important. That's the shortened, not the shortened, but basically the cut off version of it. And then this part is so fun. Oh my gosh. George, you want to do this slide?
Sure thing. Yeah, so let's get with start with the first one here, which is the difference between than versus then. The word than with an A is used here for like using for comparisons of between two certain things. And then with an E is for like time, like it's referring to a specific moment in time. And we can see that demonstrated in this sentence here. I had more time back then, but less time than I probably will have next year. So more time back then refers to a time in the past when he had more time. And then he said, he had less time than what he'll have next year. Like then is the time is like referring to a specific time, but then is used here to like compare something less time back then than what he'll have in the future. This next one is a unfortunately very still commonly mixed up set of words here. There is there, the first one meaning a place, there with an I. This one is used as the possessive form of like the pronoun they. Like it could be like a set of multiple people and stuff like that or something like that. And there with an apostrophe is a contraction of the phrase they are. So we can see this demonstrated in the example here. When we travel over there being like a place, it's talking about a specific place. It says to our friend's house, their hospitality, they're referring to the friends because they're going to their friend's house. So their hospitality is remarkable. In fact, they're the best host I know. They're here being they are the best host that I know. So that's something I feel like that's something that you should definitely know for like the SAT because it's a pretty commonly mixed up thing. But these words are also very frequent enough that knowing them is pretty important to do well in the SAT, I feel. Although I don't know if they'll directly ask a question where they'll ask you to like differentiate between these two. It's just still something good to keep in mind in case you stumble upon something like misused in the SAT, like one of these words. And the next one we have here is which versus that. Which is basically providing more extra information, but it's in a non-restrictive way, meaning it's not direct. It's like not directly, like it's not truly necessary to mention, I guess. While restrictive, while the word that is used for restrictive information, like information that's more essential to like the point of the sentence here. We'll see the example. We can see the example here. The house that was on fire burned to the ground. The reason they use that here is because if you can have just a sentence, the house burned to the ground, but the extra phrase here, that was on fire, helps to provide the context for like why it burned to the ground. It was on fire, or it was on fire some time ago. So it burned to the ground. And then the second part of the sentence here, which was unfortunate. Here, it's like giving it's giving like, I guess, the speaker's opinion about the subject, about the whole subject matter. But it's not necessary. He could just say the sentence without it and it wouldn't really be all that different. Whereas saying the sentence without like that was on fire, that's leaving out more critical, that's like leaving out more important information. The which was unfortunate here is like non-restrictive. It's just extra information he's adding. And in this case, it's the speaker's opinion that's being added. So the house that was on fire burned to the ground. So that was on fire is necessary here to like it's also used to demonstrate which house was being talked about, because if you say the house burned to the ground, it could be talking about any house in the given area probably. But if there was a specific house that was on fire, you would use that to refer to it, so that it's like unambiguous what house you're talking about. And then you say which was unfortunate, like, because that's extra information that the speaker's adding. Who versus whom? This last one here, this one's increasingly becoming like not something you'll actually have to know. But to put it simply, who as a question word is used as a subject of a sentence, while whom is used as the object. So like you would use whom in the same places you would use the like word he or she or some other pronoun, and use whom when you would use the pronouns like him, her as like an object pronoun. So you see this in the example here. Who is going to the movie? From whom did you purchase the ticket? The reason it becomes from whom here is because if you were to replace whom with like the form of the pronoun like he or she, it would have to be from him, from her. So therefore, who becomes whom here. However, like I mentioned earlier, this is something that's increasingly becoming like not necessary to know, because I think more and more like a growing majority of English speakers do not distinguish this sort of thing at all. I think it's also sort of beginning to disappear from even formal writings too, but it's still good to know, because I do believe some writings still make use of like these forms. But in daily speech, you're probably not going to hear someone say whom unless they're like pedantically speaking or trying to speak very, very formally or something like that. But yeah.
Thank you so much, George. Yeah, basically we just went over these again. And then we have these. Okay, so I think these are the last ones, right? I think. Okay, yeah, and then we get to punctuation. Okay, guys, so we're gonna be going to the new section soon. But just so you guys can get into your head some of the confused words, okay, whose and whose. It's the same as the it's and it's before, okay? You guys remember there's a possession, and then it's just, some of them is just the apostrophe making two words. Whose is the possession, that's the WHOSE possession one. And then who's with the apostrophe, that is who is. Who is, or who's going to determine whose bike that is. Oh my gosh. So you have the two different who's here. Who is going to, whose bike is that, or that is. Same with your and your. Oh my gosh, I don't know how many times people mess this up on YouTube comments and yell at each other for not having correct grammar. No one cares. And if you mess these up, you're fine, okay? Everyone does. English is confusing. But you can flex to all your friends that you know the difference between your, the possession, and you are, or your. You're very nice. You are very nice. You must have learned that from your parents. The possession is your parents, so that's your parents. And then you are nice. That's once again using the apostrophe. So you guys are smart. You guys can now differentiate between who's, yours, it's. Yay, my favorite part, punctuation. To be fair, no one knows how to use colons and semicolons and all that fun stuff correctly. Not even commas, but that's okay, because you guys will. And I'll kind of learn too, because it's been a while since I've actually studied English. No, I'm kidding. Okay, you guys, you can use commas to separate three or more things in a list. For example, oh my gosh, not me thinking of it. Okay. I like to eat apples, bananas, and oranges. Oh my gosh, I kept thinking of like that one song. I like to eat apples and bananas. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm horrible. I know, guys. I know. Okay, you guys remember fanboys? It comes back. We brought this up. You guys are going to use a comma before the fanboys. My mom was going to pick me up from school, but my dad came instead. Boo. You have to add that comma, you guys, before the but. It's the same for and or nor or but or yet or so. So I guess another example. Okay. My mom was going to pick me up, yet she was 20 minutes late. You would still use a comma there. Okay, guys. Next one. Introductory information from the rest of the sentence. In 2008, the Phillies won the World Series. I don't even know if that's accurate. I don't even watch the World Series. I'm sorry, guys. Don't fact check me, guys. Okay. But yeah, in 2008, comma. And then you guys say the rest of the sentence. And then lastly, to set off non-essential descriptive information with or within or at the end of the sentence. So what do you guys mean? Okay, 1 second. I ran across the floor, which was painted with school colors, to meet Steve. I'll be honest, this does not sound like good, but this is correct because you're including descriptive information within the sentence. You separate it. Next one. I ran across the floor to meet Steve, comma, who greeted me with a high five. You didn't need to know that Steve greeted me with a high five, but you can add that descriptive information at the end of the sentence with a comma. So yeah. Oh my gosh, semicolons. I didn't get good at semicolons until probably college. That's a little concerning because this is like a big part of the English language. Yikes. Okay, guys. You use semicolons to join two independent clauses without fanboys. You need to have both sentences on either side of the semicolon to be like able to stand alone. Hence why, I mean, it's independent clauses. So for example, right. Let's see. I actually like the second example more. Okay. The cat slept through the storm. The dog cowered under the bed. Perfect. Basic structure on how you use a semicolon. There's no fanboys, and both of these sentences can stand alone. Okay. The other two are a little confusing, right? Because there's a lot going on, but let's see how they're still applicable. I entered the competition early. However, I decided to withdraw a week later. Okay. I entered the competition early. Boom. You can include a transitional word, just, okay, however isn't fanboys, but however, I decided to withdraw a week later. I decided to withdraw a week later. That stands alone. So you still have the two independent clauses here and the semicolon. Last one is, this one's a little hard, all right? When I finish here, and I will soon, I'll be glad to help you. And that is a promise I will keep. Okay, what? Okay, they use and. Okay, first of all, this is an example from Khan Academy. It's a little sus, but I'll explain to you guys. Okay, because I just said no fanboys, and you know what you guys see here? You guys see and? Okay. So first of all, when I finish here, and I will soon, I'll be glad to help you. Okay. We love the comma practice. Okay. And I will soon will be like a non-essential descriptive. Okay. That's this entire first part is a good clause. Okay. That is a promise I will keep. Okay. That stands alone. But okay. Khan Academy, this is a bad example because you just said there's no fanboys. And there's an and right there. It messes it up. No, it's okay. You just want to prioritize that it's two independent clauses that can stand on each other's own without fanboys, but you can use it in the sense that it's not, the sentence still stands alone, I think, which is like.
I mean, it's kind of bad form, to be fair, because it starts with, one of those
the fanboy, that's what I mean. Like, okay, Khan Academy, you mean? Okay, because I got these from the website. Okay, so just look at the first two. Okay, don't try to be fancy like this third one. This third one is weird. This third one, you probably don't even need to know how to use semicolons. Okay, screw that. Okay, next one.
The other important thing. Oh yeah. I thought you were going to the next slide. My bad. You can continue.
Okay, yeah. Don't capitalize the word after the semicolon, guys. Okay. It's not the new start of like an entirely new sentence. It's just another clause. Okay, guys. I am here. You are over there. The second one is correct. It's still the same sentence. You're just using like a semicolon. So don't capitalize. George, was there anything else you were saying?
Nah, it's all good. I just thought you were gonna accidentally go to like the next slide without reading that last part, but yeah.
It's okay. Oh my god, no colons. You guys remember how I mentioned the list? Okay, this will be relevant. Colons I used in high school, but let's be real, teachers are not good at emphasizing proper punctuation at all. What do I mean? Colons are used to introduce and/or emphasize short phases, quotations, explanations, examples, or lists. The portion of the sentence before the colon must be an independent clause. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. The greatest obstacle to completing my homework was imminent. The finale of Grey's Anatomy. I don't even watch Grey's Anatomy. Who watched Grey's Anatomy? There's too many seasons. Okay, so we have the first example where it is an independent clause, you guys. The last part, it's not, okay, but it's a short phrase, right? Which can be used with a colon as somewhat to emphasize that it was the finale of Grey's Anatomy that was being your obstacle. And then I also mentioned list. Here's another one. The bookstore specializes in 3 subjects: art, architecture, and graphic design. I was gonna say the store sell no. The store sells 3 fruits: apples, bananas, and oranges. Gosh. So there, you can use that as another example to use the colon. However, you do not use a colon when the listed items are not incorporated into the flow of the sentence. So, for example, I almost fell into this trap when I was saying the store sells, because as you guys see, that's a verb following in. You don't need a colon if, like, for example, the bookstore specializes in, colon, art, architecture, and graphic design. You don't do that, okay? Don't use a colon if the listed items are already in the flow of the sentence. So, correct answer. The bookstore specializes in art, architecture, and graphic design. Yay, no colon. I would not use a colon if I said the store sells apples, bananas, oranges. There's no colon, okay? You use the colon in the previous example, like we mentioned. The store sells 3 fruits: apples, bananas, oranges. Okay. Dashes. Oh my gosh. I love dashes. All I do is write in dashes because I love them so much. Okay, guys. So, why do you use dashes? It sets off like a explanatory example or list from the rest of the sentence. So, like, first one. Many facets of Jill's personality, among them empathy, respect, and kindness, make her a great friend and a human being. Okay, cool. Joe and his trusty mutt was always welcome. The actors bowed, except for the horse, knowing they blew everyone away. Okay, some rules for you guys, okay? If the main sentence resumes, a second dash is needed. Don't allow a comma to substitute for the second dash. So you can't just be like, okay, at the end of kindness for the first example, you can't just add a comma, okay? If you start with a dash, you need to end that section, that example, or that list with another dash. And you also need to make sure that your sentence would make sense if the part without the dashes was omitted. So let's see, guys, do they make sense? Many facets of Jill's personality make her a great friend and human being. Boom, makes sense. Joe was always welcome. I mean, this one, yeah, like obviously makes sense, but like the mutt adds some context to it. The actors bowed, knowing they blew everyone away. The horse part adds like a necessary detail, I feel like, but they all make sense. Like they all still sound like normal sentences. All right, guys, we got the apostrophe. This is the first time I did not use Khan Academy. You guys will be proud of me. Okay, guys, so we have the apostrophe, which, as most of you guys know, are used in contractions already. So we have there is, it is, who is, I won't, I don't, I can't. And then you have like the full word of what it's supposed to mean, like in the parentheses. It's also possession. So we have Bob's book, my friend's phone, Daniel's pupusa, George's arepa, the intern's computers. Okay, you guys are gonna notice when both the noun and not the noun, they're both nouns. Basically, with both nouns, if they're both plural, you use the apostrophe on the outside of the word. Yeah. Oh my gosh, fun. So you guys probably won't have that many graphs, but so you guys know how to use graphs, okay? These questions will be about your quantitative reasoning, not about your mastery of grammar. You just need to be able to read a graph. Look carefully at the key/legend, axis labels, and units. Allow yourself enough time to become acquainted with the graph's organization. Since the questions will usually ask you to pick an accurate interpretation of the graph, take a glance at what the choices are generally stating, so you can have a feel of what they are after. Then, as best as you can, try to come up with an answer of your own before jumping to a given answer. Pretty basic, guys. You guys just need to know how to identify certain aspects of the graph and be able to answer questions. All right. Here's some last bit of advice before we start getting to the practice tests. Shorter is better. So you don't necessarily need to pick like the longest answer in the SAT because you want to be concise. Long doesn't always mean better, okay? Shorter is better. Or like I say, size doesn't matter. Haha, kidding. All right, guys. There's also no special consideration for no change, okay? No change might not be true, okay? You guys might see it. Do not circle no change every time you see it just because you think, oh my gosh, this question has no change, okay? That must mean there's no change. No. That's where they get you. And then it ends up being a right answer from the ones they do give. Make sure to practice, you guys. You guys can get grammar books, practice exams, come to SAT prep. And there's also time management. You guys, if you guys are studying, make sure you guys time yourselves when studying. And yeah. Okay. So we're going to be going to the practice passages and questions. But beforehand, do you guys have any questions before we get started? We have like about an hour left. If not, give me a second to get the passage ready and format it in a way so you guys don't automatically see the answers. You guys can be using the chat to basically answer questions about the practice exam. And yeah, okay, I have a passage. Hold up. Okay. All right, one second, guys. Let me organize. Okay, guys, I have it ready. I'm gonna make sure it's showing in a way that you guys don't see the answer because this one has all the answers. So, all right. So this will be formatted a little bit weird, you guys. I do apologize. So how does this usually work? All right, let me move this. Let me zoom in. Come on. Zoom, why you do this to me? All right, so today, guys, we're going to be going over A Life in Traffic. Where is this from? This is from the College Board. This is the 2020 SAT practice test. Woohoo. So this is really popular. This is also used on Khan Academy. In fact, this is the exact passage that they used as practice on Khan Academy. So yeah, very fun. All right. I should specify you don't need to read the entire passage like just straight up, okay? We want to survey the questions. And you guys are probably noticing these little doohickeys. What is this? These are numbers corresponding to questions. You will be asked specific questions about these sections underlined. and specified by the number. Okay, guys? Okay. The first question, okay, it has to do with this section. To alleviate rush hour traffic jams in a congested downtown area, stoplight timing is coordinated. Okay, guys. So you guys are going to have to answer a question. Here we go. Let's go down to it. Woo-hoo. All right. So let's survey questions first before we answer this question. Okay. Which choice best maintains the sentence pattern? Okay, this is syntax already established in the paragraph. We have no change as A. B, coordinating stoplight timing can help alleviate rush hour traffic jams in a congested downtown area. C, stoplight timing is coordinated to alleviate rush hour traffic jams in a congested downtown area. In a congested downtown area, stoplight timing is coordinated to alleviate rush hour traffic jams. Okay, guys, this might be a little hard at first, right? Because we just went over punctuation and we don't really remember some of the sentence patterns we were taught. However, we're going to look back up here, okay? We're looking for the choice, remember, that maintains the sentence pattern already established in the paragraph. So let's read the paragraph again. To alleviate rush hour traffic jams in a congested downtown area, stoplight timing is coordinated. So we read that, right? So our job, it said, wait, to answer this, answer quick, you want to read the two preceding sentences, determine which is, okay, let's do that then. This tip says we need to read the sentences before it. Let's see how that helps. Okay. A subway system is expanded to provide service to a growing suburb. A bike sharing program is adopted to encourage non-motorized transportation. Okay, you guys see what they're asking here? Okay, boom. The two sentences before have the exact same structure. We are asked to follow that same structure flow, okay? So first of all, this one as is does not follow the structure of the past two. So as you guys know, we gotta do process of elimination. So if the other two are that structure, right? And this third one doesn't follow that, which one of these can we automatically eliminate, you guys? Actually, two of them, but which one, guys? You guys remember how I said no preference for no change? So which one do you guys think is not, like, you can automatically say that's not the answer, Danny? Boom, cross it out. Okay, I kind of gave it away, guys. Come on. Okay. No change. Why? Because it doesn't follow the structure as is. Boom, done. Okay. So you're left with B, C, and D. I think I already know the answer, you guys. Okay. Do you guys know the answer? If you guys do, just shout your guess in the chat. If not, just tell me and we can go over more of what we're looking for in the answer. Anybody? How about this? How about this? All right. All right. I'm going to read them out again, and then I'm going to show you guys the section of the text. And then I'm going to go to the restroom. And you guys have that time, that 5 minutes in the restroom to decide, okay? Because I want you guys to be involved. I want you guys to participate in the SAT prep. It's for your own good, you guys. So, reading the choices again, okay? If we already knocked out A, B, coordinating stoplight timing can help alleviate rush hour traffic jams in a congested downtown area. C, stoplight timing is coordinated to alleviate rush hour traffic jams in a congested downtown area. Or D, in a congested downtown area, stoplight timing is coordinated to alleviate rush hour traffic jams. Okay, guys. So you guys kind of have an idea of each of these different sentence structures, sentence patterns. And I'm going to show you guys the passage again. Remember, we want the sentence that best matches the structure of the previous sentences, okay? So we're looking here at section 1. Okay, guys. We're looking at this entire part. And we're trying to answer this one. How should we frame this sentence to match these previous two? We have a noun and we have a past tense verb, guys. I'm going to give you guys the limited amount of time I will take to use the restroom currently. Let me know what you guys think is the answer. So I left that up for a little bit. I kind of already, I feel like I've already said the answer. All right, guys, I'm just going to go back to the answers. Which one do you guys think it is out of B, C, or D? I'll give you guys about 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Come on, y'all. All right, the answer is C. You guys want to know why the answer is C? There's actually a description here. I was worried because I didn't want you guys to see the explanation. There we go. We got a big explanation right here. All right, it's C. Why C? C is the best answer because it most closely maintains the sentence pattern established in the two preceding sentences. It's the noun and the passive verb phrases. A subway system is expanded. A bike sharing program is adopted. Choice A is not the best answer because it does not maintain the sentence pattern established by the two preceding sentences. Rather, it begins the sentence with an infinitive phrase. Choice B is not the best answer because it does not maintain the sentence pattern established by the two preceding sentences. Rather, it begins the sentence with a gerund phrase. Choice D, not the best answer because it does not maintain the sentence pattern established by two preceding sentences. Rather, it places a prepositional phrase in a congested tone area at the beginning of the sentence. How many of you guys are still on here? Just want to be curious. There are 4 of us here. Okay. All right, next one. Oh no! Oh God! Oh my God! You guys saw that. Okay, maybe you didn't. Okay. 2. It's asking about a certain word that needs to be changed in the passage. No change. B being occur, they are. C occurs, they are. Or D occurs, it is. All right, so let's go to number 2 then. Let's see. When any of these changes occur, it is likely the result of careful analysis conducted by transportation planners. Okay. Well, let's see, you guys. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I know. Yeah. What answer do you guys think it is? I totally did not reveal the answer. You guys there? Well, there's 3. Okay, if there's like limited participation, I'm just gonna go into how you can access these additional resources and study on your guys' own. I know these sessions are pretty long, and that's okay. So this particular one, as I mentioned before, this is the sample writing language test. So basically, this is from 2020 on the College Board. You can tell. This is the one because this will be the first passage you guys come across. So I'm simply just going to show you guys the last portion of our presentation for you guys to stay in touch. Let me share my screen. All right, guys. So as you guys know, we have a WhatsApp group. Some of you guys are already in it. It's Study for SAT. Basically, that's the bit.ly link. So you guys can join. I'm going to leave it here for a minute or so you guys can join quickly in case you're not in it already. Okay. And I also highly recommend that you guys, not me forgetting to change this. Hold up, guys, hold up. We have SAT for the rest of the math section, so you guys should absolutely come. We have, all right, 1 second. We have the math calculator section, same time as usual every single Monday. On the 29th, we have the math calculator section. You can register on the bit.ly link below, 4 p.m. Central Time, you guys. I always send reminders in the SAT study guide or nonsense, study prep WhatsApp. So make sure you guys come. And yeah, thank you guys for all attending, and you guys are all dismissed. Thank you guys for coming today.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Hopefully I'll see you at the next SAT prep session for the math with calculator.